The story of the Indus Valley Civilization usually begins with its cities. Straight streets, grid layouts, brick houses, and drainage systems that would make even modern engineers raise an eyebrow. Yet behind the precision of their urban planning and the hum of their long-distance trade lies another, quieter dimension of this civilization: religion and ritual. Unlike the Egyptians, who built pyramids to touch the sky, or the Mesopotamians, who raised ziggurats as stairways to heaven, the Indus people did not leave behind monumental temples. They left no king lists or hymns etched into stone for the gods. The script, still undeciphered, has kept their prayers and myths locked away for 4,000 years. So how do we reconstruct what they believed? We turn to the evidence they left scattered in clay, stone, and fire. The mother goddess figurines at Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, and other sites, archaeologists have unearthed small terracotta figurines. Many depict women with wide hips, full breasts, and elaborate headdresses. The recurring imagery has led scholars to identify them as fertility goddesses, perhaps the earliest form of a mother goddess cult. Fertility was not an abstract idea for the Indus people. It was a matter of survival. Good harvests, healthy children, and livestock all tied directly to fertility. These figurines may have been kept in homes for protection, carried as amulets, or offered in shrines as prayers for abundance. Yet caution is required. Were they truly goddesses, or simply depictions of women? Archaeologists debate this, but the sheer number and spread of these figurines suggest they carried symbolic weight far beyond ordinary decoration. If you've stayed with me this long, you clearly find ancient religion fascinating. Don't let your curiosity go undeciphered. Decode your own destiny by clicking the like button and subscribing. Consider it your ritual offering to the YouTube gods. The seals and their sacred symbols. Perhaps the most iconic artifacts of the Indus Valley are the seals. Made of steatite, square in shape, and carved with intricate images, these were used for trade and identification. But they also reveal religious symbols. Animals dominate: bulls, elephants, tigers, rhinoceroses, and the mysterious unicorn. One seal stands out above all: the proto-Shiva seal. It depicts a horned figure seated cross-legged, possibly in a yogic posture, surrounded by animals. Some interpret this as an early prototype of Shiva, the Hindu god known as Pashupati, or Lord of the Beasts. This interpretation suggests continuity between the Harappans and later Hindu traditions, especially the themes of asceticism, meditation, and mastery over animals. Skeptics warn against projecting later Hinduism onto the Harappans. The figure may have been a local deity, a shaman, or something entirely unrelated. But whether or not it was proto-Shiva, it shows us that the Indus people used religious iconography to express complex ideas of power, nature, and transcendence. Fire altars and ritual spaces. At Kalibangan and Lothal, archaeologists found rows of brick platforms that appear to have been fire altars. Ashes, burnt animal bones, and traces of ritual use were discovered in these spaces. The similarity to later Vedic fire sacrifices, where offerings were poured into flames as a bridge between humans and gods, is hard to ignore. If the Harappans practiced fire rituals, they were among the earliest people to do so in South Asia. Fire may have been seen as purifier, protector, or divine messenger. Unlike Mesopotamia's temples or Egypt's sun worship, the Harappans might have found their sacred power in the living flame. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro. Perhaps the single most famous religious structure of the Indus Valley is the Great Bath. This massive tank, measuring 12 meters by 7 meters and lined with baked bricks, was waterproofed with bitumen. It had steps on both ends and was supplied by a sophisticated water system. The Great Bath was no swimming pool. Its careful construction and central placement in the citadel suggest ritual use. Most scholars believe it was used for purification ceremonies, bathing before rituals, cleansing of impurities, or initiations. The concept of sacred water is deeply ingrained in South Asian traditions, from river worship to ritual bathing in the Ganges. The Great Bath may represent the earliest form of this enduring spiritual practice. Speaking of cleansing, cleanse your conscience by purifying your watch history. Go ahead, subscribe. It's less awkward than explaining to your friends why the algorithm thinks you're only into cat videos. Animals and totemic beliefs. Animals appear constantly on Indus seals. Bulls with massive humps, tigers in mid-stride, elephants, and the enigmatic unicorn. Were these purely symbolic, or did they represent totems, clan emblems, protective spirits, or sacred animals? Later Hindu traditions revere animals as sacred vehicles of gods. Nandi the bull for Shiva, Garuda the eagle for Vishnu, and Ganesha himself with the head of an elephant. The Harappan use of animals may have laid the groundwork for these associations. The unicorn, seen on hundreds of seals, remains a mystery. Perhaps it symbolized authority, perhaps it was a mythical creature, or perhaps it was just artistic shorthand for a powerful bull. Death and the afterlife. The Harappans buried their dead with care but without extravagance. Graves often contained pottery, ornaments, and simple goods. Tools for the afterlife, perhaps? Unlike Egypt, there were no pyramids or elaborate tombs. This suggests that the Harappans saw death as a continuation of life, not a stage for grand displays of wealth. Their religion may have emphasized equality even in death. Trees, nature, and sacred spaces. Seals and artifacts often depict trees, especially the pipal tree, a species of fig. In later Hindu and Buddhist traditions, the pipal is sacred, associated with Vishnu and the Buddha's enlightenment. Its prominence in Harappan imagery suggests early reverence for sacred trees, tying religion directly to the natural world. Shamanism and meditation. The proto-Shiva seal shows a figure in what looks like a yogic pose. This suggests that meditation and altered states of consciousness may have been part of Harappan spirituality. If true, the Indus Valley could represent one of the earliest roots of yogic and meditative traditions, practices that today reach far beyond South Asia. The undeciphered script, finally, the Great Silence. The Indus script. Found on seals, pottery, and tablets, this writing system remains undeciphered. It may hold the names of gods, fragments of prayers, or entire mythologies. Until it is cracked, the full picture of Harappan religion will remain just beyond our grasp. A religion without temples. What makes the Indus Valley unique is what is missing. No towering temples. No statues of kings claiming divine power. No giant monuments demanding worship. Instead, their religion seems woven into daily life. Household figurines, seals for trade, altars in cities, and water tanks for ritual use. It was practical, integrated, and community-oriented. And now for a modern ritual. Viewers, if the Harappans could manage ritual fire, you can manage to spark up the like button. Subscribe too, because unlike the Indus script, that button is easy to decipher. Legacy. Though the Indus Valley Civilization eventually declined, their religious ideas did not vanish. Fire rituals, sacred water, fertility symbols, animal reverence, and tree worship all find echoes in later Indian traditions. Even today, bathing in the Ganges, lighting ritual flames, and revering sacred trees carry forward a spiritual thread that began thousands of years ago. Closing and tease. The religion of the Indus Valley was a faith without temples, gods without names, and rituals without written records. Yet, in their figurines, seals, baths, and altars, we glimpse a people deeply engaged with fertility, fire, water, and nature. They left behind no mythology carved in stone, but they seeded ideas that blossomed across South Asia for millennia. In our next episode, we move to one of history's great puzzles: the collapse of the Indus Valley Civilization. How did a culture that spanned 5 million square kilometers, thrived on trade, and built cities ahead of their time, come to an end? Was it climate, rivers shifting course, outside invaders, or something even stranger? That mystery is next. And before you collapse into the next video, collapse onto that like button and subscribe. Because unlike the Indus Valley, we're not disappearing anytime soon.